You trust too easily. Not because you are a good person, because you are predictable. You were trained to be helpful, obedient, and agreeable. You were taught to hand out access like candy, and then act surprised when someone takes your hand with it. Look at your life. At work, you volunteer for the extra project. You stay late. You answer messages fast. Then the meeting comes, and the credit goes to the loudest person in the room. You smile anyway. You tell yourself it is teamwork. What it really is you being managed. You accepted their frame. You stepped into their court. You handed them authority. You have another scene you pretend not to notice. Your manager drops a quick favor on you at 6:40 p.m. They add a laughing emoji. They call you a lifesaver. You feel the pull. You feel the need to be the reliable one. You say yes. Then it happens again. Then it becomes normal. Then your evenings are no longer yours. The emoji was not kind. It was a test of control. In relationships, you reveal your soft spots too early. You call it being open. Then the argument hits, and suddenly your confession becomes a weapon. The same words you shared in trust get thrown back at you, sharpened, timed, and aimed. And you stand there, trying to explain, trying to be understood, trying to earn approval. At the same time, they are simply collecting leverage. And sometimes, it is more subtle. She asks you a question that sounds innocent. What is the one thing you cannot handle? You answer because you think honesty equals closeness. 2 months later, that exact thing becomes her favorite threat. She does not scream. She just mentions it, calmly, and watches your face. Your reaction is the leash. Your reaction is the handle. You gave her the handle. With friends or family, you lend money, give time, offer favors, and share information. You do it fast, with no structure, no conditions, no verification. Then the repayment never comes, the loyalty never shows up, and the respect quietly evaporates. You keep giving because you are afraid that saying no will make you look cold. That fear is not kindness. That fear is control. You know this one too. A friend says, "Do not tell anyone, but..." and they give you a secret about someone else. You feel included. You feel chosen. You think it means trust. It means they gossip. And if they gossip with you, they will gossip about you. You just got recruited into a court you did not choose. And now, you are part of their game. Put your phone face down and listen. This is not comfort. This is not motivation. This is you facing the cost of being easy to access. Machiavelli understood something you keep refusing to accept. Most people do not operate on your fantasies. They operate on incentives. They follow the advantage. They respond to strength. They exploit weakness when it is offered with a smile. They do not need to hate you, to use you. They only need you to be available. There are 8 Machiavellian warnings about trusting too easily. Not theories, not morals. Warnings. They will feel cold because reality is cold. Most of you will leave in the next minute because your identity depends on feeling good about yourself. Stay if you want power. Leave if you wish to comfort. If you ignore what you are about to hear, you stay in control. If you stay, you separate from the herd. If this hit you, write, "I am the strategist," once in the comments, just to mark the day your mindset changed. Now listen closer. Trust is not a feeling. Trust is a risk you manage. And every time you give it away without a strategy, you are not being noble. You are being harvested. You keep thinking trust is a gift. It is not. Trust is a loan, and every loan has terms. When you trust too easily, you lend someone access without collateral. You give them your time, attention, reputation, emotional reactions, and private information. Then you wonder why they spend it as if it were free money. You have seen this at work. A colleague asks you to just send the draft. They say they will polish it. They say your name will be on it. You send it quickly because you want to look cooperative. The next day, your words are in the deck, but your name is not. If you confront them, they act surprised. They say it was an accident. They smile, and you accept the smile as payment. That is how you get trained into submission. You were being evaluated instead of evaluating. The inversion is simple. What feels good is weak. What feels cold is effective. The weak move is instant trust. The effective move is controlled trust. You do not reward words. You reward patterns. You do not hand out access for promises. You grant access for proof. So the first move is to build trust. You create small gates. You make people pass through them. You give a little, then you watch. You ask for a small commitment, then you watch. You notice if they respect time, if they respect boundaries, if they show up without reminders. You do not overinvest before the pattern is clear. A man with control never builds a palace on sand. Machiavelli would not call you cruel for this. He would wake you because he knew that people perform virtuous acts when it benefits them. They speak loyalty when it costs nothing. They call you brother, then disappear when you need something. If you want to see who someone is, you do not listen to their story. You watch what they do when it is inconvenient. So you stop being impressed by friendliness. You stop confusing charm with character. You treat every new connection like a negotiation, even if it is silent. You keep your posture calm, your answers short, your smile controlled. You decide the pace. You determine the access. You choose the frame. Here is the warning inside this. The person who pushes for fast trust is not building a connection. They are racing you past your boundaries. They are trying to lock in access before you can measure them. They want your yes before you can think. You see it in dating. Someone tells you, "I feel like I have known you forever." They say you are different. They share a dramatic story early. They push closeness. They push exclusivity. They want you to reveal your fears, your mistakes, your past. It feels intimate, so you comply. Then, later, when they want control, they already know where to press. You handed them authority over your emotions. You also see it in business. A new partner says, "Let us skip the paperwork. We trust each other." They flatter you. They call you a real man for doing deals on a handshake. You feel the ego pull. You want to be seen as strong and decisive. Then the problem comes, and suddenly the handshake becomes foggy. Suddenly, the story changes. Suddenly, you are arguing about what was understood. That is what fast trust buys you. Confusion. And confusion is where manipulative people live. The weak move is to mistake intensity for sincerity. The effective move is to slow everything down. You do not match their pace. You do not confess because they confessed. You do not give private information because they acted vulnerable. People can perform vulnerability. They cannot be patient for long. Machiavelli would call this strategic caution. Not because everyone is evil, but because everyone is capable. Capable of using what you give them. Capable of switching sides when the incentives change. Capable of smiling while they take. If you want to survive in human games, you assume risk. You do not consider goodness. Another warning is smaller, and that is why it works. People test you with minor violations first. They do not start with betrayal. They begin with little disrespect, a small broken promise, a delayed response, a joke at your expense, a favor they forget to repay, a boundary they cross lightly, then watch your reaction. This is where most men fail. You tell yourself it is not worth addressing. You want to be the chill guy. You want to be easy, so you swallow it. You laugh with them. You move on. You think you are being mature. What you are doing is signaling that you can be trained. You accepted their frame of what is acceptable. You handed them dominance without a fight. The inversion is again simple. What feels mature can be weak. What feels strict can be protective. The effective response is not drama. The effective response is a consequence of a speech, not a debate. Consequence. At work, if someone forgets to include you on an email chain, you do not rant. You do not complain to 10 people. You do not beg to be included. You change your cooperation level. You become slower. You become selective. You document your work. You speak up in the room with calm certainty. You make it expensive to bypass you. In relationships, if someone disrespects you with a joke, you do not laugh to fit in. You let the silence land. You hold eye contact. You ask, "What did you mean by that?" Short, calm, no emotion. You force them to explain their frame of reference. Most people fold when they have to explain. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is pressure. And when they try to flip it on you, they will. They will say, "Why are you so sensitive?" That is the frame trap. If you defend yourself, you accept their authority to label you. You refuse. You repeat the boundary. You stay calm. You do not chase their approval. You do not step into their court. You hold your court. Machiavelli knew that authority is not granted by fairness. It is given by perception. People respect what can punish them. They respect what can be withdrawn. They respect those who do not chase them for approval. If you tolerate minor violations, you teach others that you do not protect yourself. And if you do not defend yourself, why would they respect you? Now, understand the following warning, because it is the one that makes you bleed quietly for years. Explaining is surrender. Over-explaining is begging, and begging is a signal of low status. Every time someone accuses you, challenges you, or misunderstands you on purpose, and you rush to clarify, you step into their court. You accept their authority to judge you. You become the defendant. You become the one being evaluated. They get to sit in the chair of power, and you sit in the chair of justification. This happens in families. A relative says, "You think you are better than us now." You immediately defend yourself. You list your sacrifices. You tell them you still care. You tell them you are busy. You tell them you did nothing wrong. They nod like a judge, then keep treating you with suspicion. Why? Because your explanation fed their frame. They wanted you to kneel in language. You did. This happens with friends. Someone says, "You never show up anymore." You apologize. You give reasons. You offer to make it up. And they feel powerful because they can summon guilt. Your time becomes something they can audit. Your life becomes something they can demand. The inversion is brutal. What feels polite is weak. What feels blunt is effective. The effective response is not to explain your choices. It is to state them. "I am not available. That does not work for me. I am not discussing that." Calm tone. No anger, no defense. You hold the frame, and you understand what really scares people. It is not your anger. It is your certainty. When you are certain, they cannot negotiate. When you are certain, they cannot trap you in debate. When you are certain, they cannot manage you with approval or shame. Your calm finality is dominance. Machiavelli treated appearances as power, not for vanity, but for survival. When you explain, you show that their opinion can move you. When you stay calm and brief, you show that you do not need permission. Authority grows in the space where you do not seek approval. Here is another warning that most men never see until it ruins them. Your kindness can become a leash. The more you give, the more control you get. Because once you become the giver, people start to treat your giving as a duty. You know this pattern. You become the reliable one. You answer calls. You fix problems. You solve crises. You cover shifts. You lend money. You give rides. You offer emotional support. At first, you get appreciation. Then it becomes normal. Then it becomes expected. Then it becomes demanded. Then, the first time you say no, you are called selfish. At work, you become the guy who always handles it. Then, when you ask for a raise, they act confused. They say budgets are tight. They say you should be grateful. They keep praising you while keeping you underpaid. Praise is cheap. Praise is often a cage. If you accept praise as payment, you stay in control. That is not because they are ungrateful in a dramatic way. It is because your generosity lowered your value. You made yourself abundant. And abundance gets used, not respected. Scarcity creates value. Distance creates authority. Silence creates fear. The inversion is again apparent. What feels generous can be weak. What feels selective can be powerful. The effective man gives strategically. He provides on his terms. He does not overinvest before trust is earned. He does not become addicted to being needed. Machiavelli would see your overgiving as a mistake of leverage. He would tell you that people love you when you are helpful, and they resist you when you are free. If you want respect, you do not make yourself a tool. You make yourself a factor. So you start to build friction. You do not give instant favors. You delay. You ask questions. You demand clarity. What exactly do you need? When will it be returned? What are the terms? Not angry, just structured. Structured dominance in a world of chaos. Another warning is about information. Your secrets are not sacred to other people. They are currency. The more you talk, the more you pay. The more you confess, the more you donate ammunition. You think telling someone your insecurities makes them closer to you. Sometimes it does. But in many cases, you are just giving them a map of your pressure points. Later, when conflict comes, they will use that map without hesitation. Not because they are monsters, because conflict changes incentives, which in turn drive behavior. You have seen this in relationships. You told her you fear abandonment. Now, when she wants control, she threatens distance. You told her you have struggled with confidence. Now, when she is angry, she calls you weak. You told her what hurts. Now she knows where to hit. You handed her the weapon, then called it love. You have seen it in friendships. You shared your financial situation. Now the jokes start. You shared your ambition. Now they call you arrogant. You shared your plan. Now someone else copies it. Information leaks because people talk. People compare. People compete. The inversion is uncomfortable. What feels honest can be dangerous. What feels reserved can be safe. The effective man keeps his inner world private until loyalty is proven at cost. You do not test trust by telling secrets. You test trust by watching restraint. Does this person respect boundaries? Do they gossip about others? Do they demand explanations? Do they press for access? If they gossip to you, they will gossip about you. That is not a theory. That is a pattern. Machiavelli would call your silence a weapon because silence forces others to reveal themselves. When you talk less, people talk more. They fill the space. They show their motives. They expose their hunger. You stay calm. You observe. You evaluate instead of being assessed. Now understand the warning that ties everything together. Most people do not want mutual trust. They want control disguised as trust. They want you to be open with them so that they can predict you. They want you to forgive quickly so they can repeat the behavior. They want you to explain so that they can keep you in their court. They want you to be available so that they can summon you. They want you to be agreeable so that they can steer you. They call it being close. It is often just access. You see it at work when a manager says, "We are a family here." Then they expect emotional loyalty without fair compensation. They expect extra hours, extra effort, extra silence. The family language is a frame. It is designed to make you feel guilty for acting like a professional. If you accept the frame, you get exploited with a smile. You see it in relationships when someone says, "If you loved me, you would." They are not talking about love. They are talking about compliance. They are trying to make your boundaries feel like betrayal. The moment you argue, you are already trapped. You are defending your right to exist as you are. You handed them authority. The inversion is sharp. What feels romantic can be controlled. What feels cold can be freedom. The effective response is to reject the frame. You do not debate their definition of love. You do not argue about being a good person. You state the boundary and accept the consequence. This is what I am willing to do. This is what I am not willing to do. Calm, final, no pleading. Machiavelli would approve because he understood that power is the ability to say no without panic. Power is the ability to withdraw without begging. Power is the ability to tolerate being misunderstood. Most men cannot tolerate being misunderstood. That is why they get controlled. They chase approval. They explain. They react. They try to fix perception. And in the process, they surrender authority. Here is the last warning, and it is the one that makes trust dangerous when you do not manage it. The person you trust becomes your interpreter. They speak for you. They shape how others see you. They can protect your name or poison it. When you place your trust in the wrong person, you are not just risking feelings. You are risking your reputation. You tell a coworker your frustration with the boss. You think it is private. Next week, the boss will act colder. Your coworker smiles and says nothing. You tell a friend about a conflict with your partner. Later, the group treats your partner differently, and your partner resents you. You say to a family member about your plan to move or change careers. Suddenly, everyone has an opinion, and your confidence is attacked from every direction. Trust spreads. Information spreads. People bring witnesses without telling you. That is how your private world becomes public. And once it is public, you lose control. The inversion is again apparent. What feels like venting can be self-sabotage. What feels like restraint can be dominance. The effective man chooses where his words go. He decides who has access to his mind. He treats his reputation like territory. He does not invite strangers to walk through it. Machiavelli would tell you to secure your position before you reveal your intentions. Not because secrecy is evil, because exposure invites interference. When people know your plan, they either compete with it, judge it, or try to manage it. Keep your moves quiet. Make your results loud. Now, pull all of this together. because the consequences are not small. When you trust too easily, you become socially invisible in the worst way, not ignored, used. You become the reliable background tool. People tolerate you because you are convenient. They do not value you because you are not scarce. They do not respect you because you do not punish. You become the man people call when they need something and forget when they do not. You feel it in conversations. You talk too much to prove value. The room does not lean in. You explain to be understood. They nod and move on. You want to be appreciated. They accept and ask for more. You are constantly being evaluated. You are continually reacting. That is not life. That is management. You also feel it in your body. Your nervous system is always ready to respond, prepared to fix, ready to smooth things over. You cannot rest because you built a life where everyone has access to you. And the more access you give, the less authority you have. Authority requires boundaries. Authority requires distance. Authority requires control over your own reactions. And the more you react, the more you teach people how to control you. They learn that guilt works on you. They learn that praise works on you. They learn that pressure works on you. They know that silence makes you anxious. They know that your need for approval is a handle. You become a door with too many keys. This is not cruelty. This is not a game. This is realism. Machiavelli did not write to make you feel cold. He wrote to make you see. When you know, you stop bleeding in secret. So you start to move differently. You use silence as a tool. You do not fill every gap. You do not always answer messages quickly. You do not explain every choice. You let people sit with uncertainty. Uncertainty makes them respect you, because uncertainty makes them feel you are not owned. You use distance as authority. You do not chase. You do not plead. You do not negotiate your boundaries for approval. When someone crosses a line, you withdraw calm cooperation. You lower access. You let consequences teach. You do not need drama. You need control. You use scarcity as value. You stop overgiving. You stop being endlessly available. You stop solving problems that are not yours. You stop buying loyalty with effort. Loyalty is proven when it costs something. If someone cannot show up when it is inconvenient, they are not loyal. They are opportunistic, and you build your frame. You stop stepping into other people's courts. You stop being the defendant. You become the evaluator. You decide what you accept. You decide what you tolerate. You decide what you reward. Your life is not a public trial where everyone gets a vote. You also stop mistaking access for intimacy. Someone can text you every day and still have zero loyalty. Someone can smile in your face and still vote against you in the room. Someone can sleep next to you and still keep one foot out the door. When you trust too easily, you confuse proximity with commitment. You confuse attention with respect. You confuse being around you with being for you. Watch the pattern. The men who are too open become entertainment. The men who are too available become backup plans. The men who explain too much become subjects. You get invited when you are helpful. You get praised when you comply. Then, when you need support, the room goes quiet. That is when you learn the real hierarchy. You were tolerated, not valued. You were present, not powerful. Silence flips that. When you stop chasing replies, people start wondering where you went. When you stop oversharing, people start guessing. When you stop fixing everything, people start respecting the weight you carried. Even Sun Tzu understood that absence can do what words cannot. You do not need to announce your value. You need to remove your value and watch who panics. There is a small, hard truth here. You will lose some people when you stop trusting too easily. Not because you became worse, because you became harder to use. Some people only stay close when they can steer you. When you remove the steering wheel from their hands, they call you cold. Let them. Their label is not your identity. Their opinion is not your authority. Machiavelli would call this the price of strength. The herd prefers men who are easy to predict, easy to guilt, easy to shame, and easy to flatter. When you stop being that man, the herd resists. That resistance is proof that you are changing the balance of power. Now, here is the challenge. Talk without action is just another form of comfort. For the next 7 days, you practice controlled trust. You slow down your yes. You stop instant access. You stop fast confession. You stop over-explaining. You respond with short statements. You watch behavior before you reward it. You make people earn closeness. You make people earn your time. You make people earn your information. At work, document your contributions and speak with certainty. Do not chase credit. Make your value visible. In relationships, keep your private fears private until respect is stable. Do not trade vulnerability for approval. With friends and family, stop lending your peace to people who cannot repay it. Say no without a lecture. Let the silence do the work. You will feel tension. Good. That tension is the old training leaving your body. The training that told you to be liked. The training that told you to be useful. The training that told you to be agreeable. You do not need to be liked. You need to be respected. Respect comes from boundaries, from control, from authority, from dominance over your own reactions. If you want more of this realism, like the video, share it with someone who keeps getting used to it, and subscribe. Not because you need a tribe, because you need reminders that the world is not built for naive trust. If this hit you, write, "I am the strategist" once in the comments, just to mark the day your mindset changed. Now close this video and move like it is true. Less talk, more control, more silence, more frame. You are not here to be managed. You are here to manage yourself. And that is where dominance begins.